call is being recorded. All right. Still.
Okay. Hi guys. Welcome to this Elite Contenders call. I actually made a little slideshow presentation, so I'm going to share my screen. One moment. I hope this works. Okay. And I hope that the view. Okay. So Keyshawn and Craig asked me to come on and talk about mindset and how it relates to ATV. I recently went and attended the Eric Worre GoPro Mastery event with Tony Robbins in Las Vegas. And a lot of that presentation was about what he calls the inner game, which is mindset, versus the outer game, which is, action steps, which is step by step. I'm gonna focus on the inner game first, and then I'm gonna get to the outer game. But it starts with the inner game, which is mindset. Well, let's hope it works. Okay, just a little bit about me so you know who I am, who you're listening to, because probably many of you don't know who I am. I am the founder of Team Aloha, which was established in July 2012. I did not have an upline that supported me, so I was pretty much left to build this business on my own. Our mission is to breathe life into people and the planet. I'm a 6-star Diamond Elite, like Keyshawn said, Success Club 10 All-Star Legend, Palm Beach Market Council, 6-figure income earner. Disclaimer, Beachbody does not guarantee any level of success. I'm an animal lover. I'm an owner of a dog and a bird. I'm a world traveler. I love to explore new places. I'm a student of shadow work, which is all about mindset and creating new possibilities through healing your patterns from previous, from your history, from your past. I'm a retired nurse anesthetist. I used to be a full-time nurse anesthetist. I guess I should say semi-retired, because I still do work once a week just to keep my license active, but Beachbody is my main source of income as well as, my full-time. And my why was freedom for myself from my job, which I accomplished, and now it's really freedom for as many others as possible. I don't know how to move this. Okay, so it all starts with energy, with mindset. Tony Robbins gave a 4-hour presentation at the Eric Worre event. And this is going to be mostly it's going to be based on what he shared. And your biggest problem is that you think you shouldn't have any. So if you're getting upset and frustrated with things that are going on, then that's normal to happen in your business. It happens with everyone. And if you think that you're not going to have struggles and it's not going to be hard, then that's your biggest problem. Perfect is the lowest feeling in the world because it creates feeling bad, and other people will feel that from you. So it doesn't have to be perfect. It's the start that stops most people. A lot of people will wait for it to be perfect to implement something. It doesn't have to be. Your energy and emotional state will impact your performance more than anything else in this business. Energy trumps skills any day. So to transform anything, if your business right now is not where you want it to be, you have to start with transforming yourself. Energy is not something that you can chase or pursue. It's something that you just are. It's a state of being. So as far as energy, what's the magic formula? Or what's the magic formula for building this business? There is none. One thing is definitely don't compare yourself to others. If you are looking at other top coaches and you're comparing yourself to them, you're wasting a lot of valuable time. Just focus on yourself. Create tunnel vision and forget about everything else that's going on around you. Start giving. The best way to receive is to start to give without necessarily expecting something in return. The times that I've done the best in my business and felt the most satisfied in my business were the times that I really put that other person first. And it wasn't about me accomplishing that goal. That goal became a byproduct of all of the people that I was helping. Tony Robbins actually told a story about how he hit rock bottom. He had made all sorts of money, and then he hit rock bottom. He had $0 to his name. He had like $15 in his pocket, his last $15. And he ended up seeing this kid on the street, and the kid was taking his mom out to dinner. And Tony Robbins said that he saw something really fine in this little gentleman. So he ended up saying, I guess he held the door open for them or something, and he said to this little kid, that's great that you're taking your woman out to dinner. And the kid was like, I'm not taking her out to dinner. I don't have any money. And he pulled the last $15 out of his pocket and let this kid take his mother out to dinner. He said that was the moment that he felt the most free in his life, because he had nothing, and that he built himself all the way back up. So start giving to receive. So changing is somebody, can you guys, when you get on, can you mute your lines just so that, if you're hopping on, please, thank you. Mindset, scarcity versus abundance. Scarcity mentality will actually push people away. So scarcity mentality, thinking that there's not enough people, and these other coaches are recruiting all the people that you're supposed to be getting, and worrying about like one person that's being recruited by somebody else. I don't know who that is, but it's like, really, guys, can you guys mute your line? I'm not sure where it's coming from, but just click on your screen and you can mute it very easily.
I just muted them.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Where was I? View, present. All right. So scarcity mentality is feeling like there's not enough people. There are so many people out there that still need our help, and we just have to find the right people that fit into our tribe and fit into our culture and want to be a part of our team and want to be involved in what we're doing. So feeling frustrated and being like, this is not going to happen, and putting all of that negativity out in the universe is just it's actually going to push people away, and it's going to make it impossible for you. So start thinking in abundance. Think in the fact that there's so many people out there for us to help, and there are so many ways to reach them. And you just have to keep moving forward and being consistent in the 3 vital behaviors every day, and you eventually will find the right people that are going to make all of those goals happen. Life is always working for us, even though we think that it might not, even though there are sometimes negative situations in our life. It isn't working against us. It is working for us. Even in negative situations, there's always a positive. The easiest way to build your business is just be real, be honest, care about people, put people before yourself, have a goal, have a vision to be an elite coach, but don't make it push you so hard that you are frustrated, angry, and upset, and not having fun, and pushing your coaches. Trust me, it doesn't feel good that way. And I'm speaking from experience. So love what you do, love helping people, put their goals before yours, and it will just become a byproduct of what you're already doing. When you become so attached to somebody joining your team or somebody becoming a diamond or pushing them so hard, it literally will send people running in the other direction. So how do you change your emotional state? This, just like working out and pushing weights, you have to build your emotional muscle. So the more you start thinking in negative emotion, the more you're going to start creating in your life negativity. So shrink those negative emotions. When they start to come into your mind, start to just, remind yourself that they're not true. They're just stories that you're creating that aren't even true. So shrink them, breathe, step away if you have to, go do something that you like to do, something that makes you happy, and come back and work your business when you're in a positive emotional state. Because when you're stuck in that negative emotional state, have you ever sat down and you're like, I really need to work my business, and I'm so frustrated, I need to get this done, and I need to recruit, but you're in this crappy mental place, and everything that you do that day totally stinks, like nothing's working out. Because it's all about you. It's all about the emotional state that you're in going into it that's creating all of that. But you have the ability to shift it. So my advice to my coaches that are struggling and frustrated and feeling like it's not going to happen for them, a lot of times is to step away for a little bit, go do something fun, go do something to rejuvenate themselves, and then come back when they've changed their emotional state. And then also change your focus. So say you're sitting there and you're like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to get this ATV. I don't know how I'm going to get these diamonds. And you're just focusing on how it's not going to happen. It won't. But if you just focus on it's going to happen no matter what, and I'm going to work my little booty off until the end, no matter what. And if it doesn't, it's not going to be the end of the world too, because it's a goal and it's a great goal to have. But if it doesn't happen, all you're doing is setting yourself up for an amazing 2016. That work is not being, thrown away. It's still going to help you build. So enjoy the journey. If you're not happy in your business right now, at this very moment, if you're feeling frustrated and you're feeling like it's not going to happen for you and you're super negative, then when you are successful in your business, you're just going to create more of exactly what you're feeling right now. So have fun in the journey. This is a marathon, not a sprint. I mean, I know that we're really close to the end of the year and elite is your goal and you want it to happen and you don't have that much time, but building this business is a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's not a 1 month, 3 month, 6 month, year-long thing. It's a 4-year degree. So why is it that people will go to college for 4 years and they'll spend tens of thousands of dollars on a degree, but then they'll enroll as a Beachbody coach and they'll give it 3 months and they'll be like, this doesn't work for me. And they won't even do any training. I forget what Eric Worre said, but he said doctors spend something like 18,000, surgeons spend 18,000 hours practicing to administer surgery. So we can spend 18, but a lot of coaches don't want to do that. So think of it as a 4-year degree and then create that culture on your team, pass that belief onto your team that it's not a get rich quick scheme. It takes time. And when you posture yourself as that for your team, then they understand that it takes them time and they'll be willing to stick around longer. So be honest with them. Leadership is nearly influence, but in order to influence others positively, we need to have ourselves in a positive emotional state. So if we're like, oh, this person just fell out of diamond, and this person just went inactive, and this person just had a return, and oh my God, one of my emeralds, and all you're doing is focusing on all the negative, then how are you going to be able to positively influence people in your business? It's going to be impossible. So it all depends on the emotional state that you're bringing. So shift it. Like I said, build that emotional muscle. Shift your focus, shift your emotional state. Also, to influence people, you have to know the way that they're influenced. So language, if you believe in those, is giving gifts, and you start giving everybody gifts, but they're, praise, then they're probably not going to be responding to that in the same way that you would if you were to receive that from someone. So figure out what it is that influences them and use that way to influence them, whatever way they're already influenced. At the end of the day, God gave us all, and the more we use those gifts for the positive, the more gifts we will continue to receive. So it all goes back to your why. Can you guys still hear me?
We can still hear you. You are freezing up a little bit, but we can still hear you. I don't know if you can hear us anymore. All righty. Well, it looks like she's frozen a little bit, so we're going to wait for her to log back in and get back going. I'm going to unmute you guys. You're going to have to unmute yourself. Oh, actually, here, she's back. Oh,
sorry, guys.
I'm going to unmute. Let me mute everybody again, and then you can go ahead and get your screen ready, Marissa, while I get everyone muted.
About that.
I'm going to mute all really quick. So Marissa, you might be muted for a quick second.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Marissa, everyone is muted besides you.
It all goes back to your why. You've probably heard this a million times, but it goes back to your team, your team why. I found, and I know that maybe Carl will with me, because once I said this, I was super and he said he didn't agree with me when I said your why should include, it should be something that's large. And he said it doesn't matter. Your why could buy can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Could be that buy a jet. Well, personally, what I've found with my team, and this is just from my own personal experience, when I talk to my coaches and I do my Getting Started Right call and I help them to think about their why, I don't just focus on what are they going to get with what kind of things are they going to buy? What are they going to do to their house? What kind of trips are they going to take? We do talk about those things, but then when I get them to understand that they can have all those things and create their why wish list, then I talk about, okay, now fast forward 3 years, and now you have all of those things, and everything that you'll ever need is provided to you working full, part-time with Beachbody, because it can happen for anyone as long as they continue to do it long enough. Is there ever anything more that you want to do with your life? You want to be part of a cause? What would you want to be a part of? Because motive matters. So figure out what that cause is that's bigger than, than just you or than just your team, and then get your team on board with that, because motive matters. So I had to redefine my why, because my why was to quit my job. And when that happened for me, I kind of thought, I was like, okay, now what? Now what do I do? I mean, I have everything that I wanted. So it really, when I got to that point, which I wish it would have happened earlier for me, it really started to be more about other people, because my needs were already being met. So then I expanded my why, and my why is conscious healing work. I want to help people heal from the inside out, and that is my bigger why. So this is a vehicle for me to help people physically, and then work on the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual beyond that. So now that's part of the inner game. First of all, you've got to get your mindset right. You've got to be in a positive emotional state, and you've got to transfer that to your team. So you have to get your team on board. How are you going to do that? First of all, it's not about you being an elite coach. It's about we being an elite coach. So when you talk about it, you need to get your team on board with you. And you need to talk about the fact that you are going to be an elite team together. And why is that going to help you? Because it's going to mean that you're going to have more, I don't know what you call it, clout or power, or you can talk about the fact that you're in the top 0.01% of the company. When you talk about people joining your team, it creates a different posture for you. So talk about that being that they're all going to benefit from it, not just you. Offer incentives. Offer incentives for your coaches. Make sure you follow the policies and procedures and do, things that are in alignment with what Beachbody says we can do, the gift giving and things like that. We just came off a 6-week Dash to Diamond group. We did it cross-line with a bunch of, 6 different teams, leaders from 6 different teams. And it was a 6-week Dash to Diamond. And I think I had 3 on my team. I think we had about 8 or 9 diamonds go diamond in that group, which of course I know we're talking about ATV, but diamonds mean ATV because they're expanding their teams. Dig deep into your downline. So don't be afraid to ask their leaders who are their leaders, who are their people, who are their ones that they see, taking this to the next level, and then try to set up either 3-way power calls with the leader and the coach, or I've even done it where the coach had, my PS coach hasn't been on the call, and I've just done a 20 to 30 minute power call. And the majority of the time I spend on that power call is just really helping them find their why. Because a lot of times newer coaches, newer leaders don't know how to do that getting started call where they can actually get to someone to their why that makes them cry. And that is really important, because the why is what's going to keep them engaged and going to keep them growing their team, which is ultimately going to duplicate down several levels and going to lead to more volume. Weekly one-on-one calls. Shane Mason Fryer, or Shane Fryer Mason, I'm not sure which way, but she did a national wake-up call and talked about weekly one-on-one calls. If you are interested in learning more about that, she's the one that me to those. And it was a really great call about, being really focused in that time. It's a 20-minute to 30-minute power call. And you talk about, what they did well the week before, what they struggled with. And then you talk about their key people that they're talking to and where they're at in that, process. So you can have feedback and you can talk and you can say, okay, here's where you're at. This is what I would do for the next step, so they can learn from you. You can also do that in focus groups. You don't just have to do it with one person at a time. You could do focus groups of 3 to 4 people. I'm going to start doing that coming towards the end of the year, because it brings your team together, and it starts to, a lot of your PS coaches probably don't even know each other, but it starts to create more of a bond between your PS coaches, and it creates a better culture, and they actually feel like they're more involved and they're a part of something that's bigger than them. Don't stop recruiting. So don't say like, oh, I've got my people, I've got my 5, I'm going to push them, and they're going to do it, and I'm going to be an elite. And if you do that, trust me, it won't happen for you, because the 2 elite last year and the year before, I had all the points, but I didn't have the diamonds, because I was like, oh, these people, they're going to do it. And it wasn't that I stopped recruiting, but I just thought the people that I thought were going to do it did it, and they didn't do it. So I didn't make it. You don't want that to happen. Do 3-way calls, prospecting calls with your coaches. Do mock prospecting calls on a live Zoom. We do mock business opportunity presentations where I have my coaches interview one another and pretend like this person is a prospect and they're the coach and they're trying to prospect them and bring them in as a business builder. Do live power hours. They've been sharing this on the wall where you have, you do a Zoom and you have everybody tracker step by step, which I actually use a different tracker than what Beachbody uses that I really like. And we go through it and I just post, in the team group, post 1, here's what you're going to do. Post 2, here's what you're going to do. Post 3, here's what you're going to do. And I created a document around that. So if you want that, I'm happy to share it with you. And in those posts, I tell them, okay, you're going to add 3 new friends. Here's how I usually add new friends. So they don't just so you're actually teaching them how to do it. You're doing it with them. Getting started calls. New coaches, a lot of times they get a business builder, how to do a getting started call. They don't remember what they did on their getting started call with you. I found that see one, do one, teach one. So do one, see one. So I'll lead the call with them. I'll do the getting started call with their coach. We'll do a Zoom so we all see each other. Next time they listen to feedback, time they're on their own. See one, do one, teach one. And lastly, you have to believe that you can do it, and you have to believe that your team can do it, and you have to have unshakable belief in our company and in this business as a whole, because this business is the complete solution. It can offer you such an amazing life if you will continue to push for it. So duplication. I know you wanted me to talk about volume, so I'll kind of put this in at the end. Here's some tangible things just so you can see. So duplicate several levels deep. Whatever you're doing, you want that's volume, ATV, which is the goal of the business. So for example, you don't have to find that coach, the one rock star coach that's going to you lots of coaches that are doing a little bit, and that will grow your volume eventually. So imagine that 10 of your coaches enroll 2 challengers over the next month, okay? That you help them enroll, you show them how to do that, you help them reach out to people. That's going to result in, I'm just talking about just Shakeology, not even with the channel TV time. That's 118, just helping 10 people with Shakeology. Now, double that and say that you coaches PPS and they enroll 2 challengers each. And we're just talking about with Shakeology, which is 90 PV. That's 40 challengers times 90, 3,600 ATV. But you've really just helped 20 people enroll 2. So you don't have to do it all on your own. It's not, if I'm going to go out and try to help 100 people next month, it's going to be really hard for me to help 100 people on my own. It's going to take a lot of time. It's going to be, and I used to in the beginning think that, oh my God, I would hear all these national wake-up calls where these crazy, amazing top coaches, and that's awesome for them, get 1 million success club points every month. Well, that's not me. If I get 30 or 40, it's actually like too much for me because I can't handle all of it. So for me, I found it's like smaller, the better, and I can really focus on those people. So if I want to go out and help 10 people next month, 100, it's going to be really hard for me to do. But I can help 10. I know that I can help 10. And then I can teach those 10 how to help 10. And the following month, I'll be helping 100. So that's the power of duplication. And that's the same thing that happens with volume. Now, if I have my 100 coaches and I teach them all to enroll 2 challengers with just Shakeology, which we all know they do challenge packs, right? Because we all know that that's the better solution. We all know that that's the better deal. That's 18,000 ATV. If you're talking about elite points, that's almost 2 ATV points right there. Just by helping 100 people in your downline enroll 2 new challengers. So maybe you create an incentive around that. Maybe you create some type of push or sprint group around 2 challengers, and whoever does it, earns a certain prize or maybe a gift card or something like that. If you're looking to push volume, then you've got to work with the willing, and you've got to help a lot of people. So find your joy today while building for tomorrow. Don't be frustrated. That's the worst possible thing that you can do. Enjoy what you're doing at this moment right now. And you will just get more of that.
Love it. Thank you so much, girl. You brought it. I am looking at the chat. Lots of people are saying thank you. Great tips. So this is our mastermind. So I'm going to open it up for questions and brainstorming and bouncing ideas off of one another. Now, if you guys were on last week or if you weren't on last week, my goal during this portion is to talk as little as possible because, well, I'm not the expert builder. You guys are. You guys are the ones in the field and in the trenches. So Marissa, girl, I have so many great notes. Thank you. I think one of my biggest quotes, I'm going to have to write this on my sticky note board, is your biggest problem is thinking you shouldn't have any. Wow. I mean, it's just so easy and yet so profound. So we did have a question already, and this is from Stacy and Sarah. They're wanting to know what kinds of things do you find work well as far as incentives?
Well, we've done in our Dash to Diamond group, we do that, the pot, which you're allowed to do, everybody has to enter in with a $20 buy-in, right? And this isn't really like for volume, but this is for diamonds, for example. They pay $20 to get in the Dash to Diamond group. And I think you can only raise up to like $5,000. You can't have more than that. I'd have to review the policies and procedures, but ours has never been over like maybe 2,500 or 3,000. And then they have certain requirements that they have to meet in order to earn the prize money. So this last Dash to Diamond group, we had like $2,500. I think probably, I don't know, there was probably 6, 7, there was maybe 9 of them, 8 or 9 of them that actually earned diamond. So they're going to split that between the 8 or 9 of them. And the requirements were that they had to enroll at least 6 new coaches in their downline, not necessarily personally sponsored. They had to support one of their PS coaches in advancing to Emerald, and they had to be a diamond coach on the last day of the Dash to Diamond group. So that's something. Another one would be, I've read on the wall that people are doing go for no incentives. So what they're doing is they're having a go for no challenge where the first coach to reach 100 no's, and they have a spreadsheet that they keep track of them, earns a $25 gift card. And then the second and third or something earn a $10. And then the people after that, they still earn 5, because you still want them to keep doing it even if they don't win, so you can still have a smaller incentive for the people that still do it but aren't the first or second ones to do it. I find that incentives that everyone can win work really well versus like people competing against one another.
That makes sense.
Am I still talking? Can you hear me?
You're still talking. You're frozen now. If you're frozen, oh, there you are.
I don't know what the last thing you heard was.
The last thing was you find it that it's better for you to do incentives that everyone can win as opposed to them competing against each other.
Yeah.
Was that the end of your talk? That was the end?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure I didn't cut you off.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and this isn't, we don't have to necessarily ask Marissa. We can totally open you don't hold back if you have anything to add as far as what you find works well for you when you're doing incentives, guys. This is an open mastermind for everyone to collaborate. Sarah and Stacy actually both had follow-up questions in regards to that, though. This is for you, Marissa, and for the group. What about incentives for individual diamonds, not necessarily a group training? And do you do incentives for coaches to hold rank? Like, for instance, it's the time of the year.
I have done that before, but now when I listen to the policies and procedures, at leadership, I realized that I don't think that I was doing it right, because I don't think you're allowed to give cash. I think it has to be in the form of a gift. So I think you can do it. And yes, I did do them before, but now I think it can't be cash. I think it's got to be a gift. So it could be like a jacket or something, I think.
Definitely.
Check the policies and procedures.
Yes, definitely check with the policies and procedures. And if you want, you can just send an email over to compliance. Hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing. And all they can do is say yes or no, but it's great to hear a no beforehand than to hear, hey, you weren't supposed to do that after, and then something could happen. So does anyone else have anything to add? Maybe incentives that they're finding are working for their team, or things that they're doing that's getting their team excited to maintain? Okay. So let's talk about, were there any other questions for Marissa? Okay, so let's talk about ATV. How are we doing? What type of things are you guys doing to push for ATV towards the end of the year? Nobody has anything that they're doing? Is anyone having success? Lori, unmute yourself. Talk, girlfriend.
We're actually putting together a 3-day refresh group just for coaches. And we're then right after the 3 days, we roll into a 21-day program of your choice. Just for coaches though, and we have 3 incentives for them to win. So a new coach who's never shared their why before or shared their transformation on their page will be entered to win something. Whoever shares their 3-day refresh results or their 21-day results will win something. And it's just a nice way to get all the coaches on the team together doing the 3-day refresh, but then continuing on in December, for the next 21 days. So, and everyone's really excited about it. We did a $10 buy-in as well. So people would, have a little bit more skin in the game, and it seems to be going over well.
Love that. I saw Jen Crowder posted something kind of like that in our Elite and Premier Contenders page. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I thought that was money. And is she on by chance?
No, she's on mine. We're running it together.
Oh, okay.
Download. Yeah.
I'd love that idea.
Yeah,
So, and then there was another leader who took it one step further. So she did the 3-day refresh, and she had everyone in her organization purchase the 3-day refresh and then choose a 21-day program, choose a program in Beachbody On Demand to complete in 21 days. And then she's having her challenge groups, her non-coach challengers, select the winner based on who shares their transformation on the inside and out. It's kind of twofold, because then she gives the customers the opportunity to kind of buy into this fun team culture that she has going on, and also to see real results from the coaches in this challenge group. So the challengers choose the winner, and she did like a $5 or $10 pot. So everyone who purchased 3-day refresh put $5 or $10 into a pot, and at the end, she's choosing. So this coach said that she did something similar to this last year, and their pot got up to like $700, and the person who won it actually needed the money and won $700, and she pulls it right before Christmas on purpose. Thanks, Carly. That's awesome. Okay, if no one else has tips, I have a couple other tips. Okay, so some things you probably know, maybe you don't, especially since you're not sharing them. All right, so I think the lowest hanging fruit when talking about how do we get these ATV points for Elite this year is getting your inactive coaches back active. Right? Lowest hanging fruit. So how do we do that? Well, Black Friday is coming up. For those of you who are new, we haven't made the announcement yet, but historically we always have a Black Friday, and historically that announcement is made the Monday of Thanksgiving. So if I were you guys, I would be sure to, one, let your coaches know, and also begin to manipulate the algorithms in Facebook. Post more now, that way come Monday or whenever the announcement's made about Black Friday deals, your posts are being seen more often. And then make sure that your inactive coaches know about the Black Friday deals. Make sure that they know about the Boost bundle. Make sure that they know about Hammer and Chisel and anything else that they may not know about. But that's a lowest hanging fruit, in my opinion, in regards to this team volume. So we talked about Black Friday. This is you have to use your best judgment. You definitely need to make sure you check the policies and procedures. But when we talk about ATV, we're talking about money. So one great way would be help those coaches who want it, right? I'm going to say that once, and we know that anytime I'm talking about these type of things, we're talking about coaches who want it. But have you guys come up with a game plan for them to earn a certain amount of money for the holidays, right? Again, we know that Beachbody guarantees no level of success or income, so we do need to be mindful, but that's an income driver, that's an ATV driver, earning cash for the holidays. In addition to 3-day refresh, do other program product testing within your entire organization. I really like the idea of an ultimate reset challenge, not in December, but good grief, not in December, but perhaps in January, right? But let's get it now in December so that they're ready to go in January when everyone's all gung-ho. That's the greatest way to kind of to start your new healthy journey is to detox from all those negative things that are in your body. So maybe after you do your 3-day refresh and you've been blogging about it and posting about your journey and your success, begin to hype up and talk about Ultimate Reset. Begin to talk about your challenge group that you do in January and create that sense of urgency to purchase that program this year. So, and the reason why I'm using Ultimate Reset, you can use any program, any product, but Ultimate Reset does come with the most team volume of any of our programs or products. Also, this is a little unconventional, but making sure that all the family knows, all your friends know, right? We're being really unconventional. We're talking about getting it done this year, right? Pulling out those last minute stops this year. We might be having a different conversation come January, but I'm going to go there with us. And I hope that you guys don't mind it, but getting your family and friends, making sure, hey, do you need anything without being icky, but they're family. I really like Marissa's idea in regards to having your coaches reach out to 2, seeing how many people your organization can help in the month of December. Like, hey guys, December is typically a slower month, but we know that this is probably going to be one of our best months because we have this new amazing program coming out. Let's see how many people we can help. Let's see how many people we can get to sign up for this big coach-wide challenge group that we're doing with Carl Deichler in January. So see how many people, and even if they only help one person, even if they're not necessarily hitting Success Club, right? But they're helping one person, like Marissa said, if we're helping them learn to help 2 people, well, that can translate into 20, 40, thousands. Okay, so getting the entire organization involved, and I really like the cash pot idea. So those are some of the ideas that I've heard from other leaders. I've heard that they've been doing in order to kind of drive that ATV for this end of the year to get those 13 minimum points required. Remember, that's the only category that has a minimum requirement. If you cap out in the other 2 categories, you have to have at least 13 points in that category. Okay, so any questions about that, guys, or any comments or any best practices?
Hey, I'll speak up now that my kids aren't running around. Something that my team does, especially at the end of the month, to kind of help each other out is it's more of a Success Club push, but Success Club, of course, builds volume. It's something that Nikki Johnson started a long time ago. It started with a scare group. Like, you put everybody into a group and then you post like awful, scary pictures, and nobody can leave the group until they hit Success Club. I did that several times, and people, the only requirement is that you have to post at least one conversation a day. And then we all come together, and it's like we help that person battle the objection that person's giving, to kind of, give perspective on how we combat objections, how we talk to customers, how we invite, so on and so forth. Those have been really successful. I'm actually starting one next week, and instead of doing scary pictures because it's the holidays, we're going to do super annoying like commercials, songs, Christmassy type stuff. And yeah, so it kind of drives people to get out of that group because they get sick of seeing the things, but then it also shows, the different perspective and objective for, combating all of the things that are going on.
I love that. Thanks so much for sharing that, Courtney. I've heard of that scare group, but man, I think I'd be the first one to come out of that annoying Christmas group you have going on. Awesome. Anything else, guys?
One thing that I learned, it doesn't really pertain to ATV, but it really helped this year, was we ran a volume group at the very beginning of the year to teach new coaches about volume and really understanding like all the ins and outs, because that can be kind of confusing for a newer coach. And then we ran it again towards the end of the year with a cash prize. So newer coaches that have joined since then understood volume. And I feel like it really, really helped. When we're talking to our teams about volume and how to drive it, they can apply what they learn. So that might be something to implement next year as well.
I think that's a great point, Carly. Teaching volume and recognizing volume. Whatever you focus on is what your coaches are going to focus on. So create a 250 club, a 500 club, a 1,000 club, and begin to recognize those things weekly or monthly. Thank you. Great point to add, Carly. Okay, well, if there's nothing else, guys, this kind of reminds me of a story. I'm going to try to remember off the top of my head. My grandfather used to tell it to me all the time. It's about a marathon runner, the 1968 Olympics. And I forgot what country he was from in Africa, but he was from a country in Africa. And he started the race, everyone finished the race, hours passed by. They were about to close the race down. And then here he comes, he's crossing the line. He's all bloodied and he's bandaged up. And I mean, just barely even able to cross the finish line. And so at the end, the reporter asks, well, why didn't you stop? Why didn't you give up? And he looks at her and he says, my country did not send me here to start the race. They sent me here to finish. And so guys, it's like Marissa said, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint, and it's not about you starting. It's about how you finish. It's about how you keep going, no matter the blood, no matter the bandage, no matter who's not on the court or on the field and how they're about to close the field down. What I want you guys to know is that you got to believe, like Marissa said, and you can do this. I believe in you guys. I told this story about Holly Meredith a couple years ago. It was her first year qualifying for Elite. She was about 4 points deficient in her ATV category in December. 40,000 points, 40,000 team volume points deficient from becoming an elite coach. She got it done. And so I've seen crazier things happen. And even if you're 40,000 deficient, you can still do this. All right. That's all I got for you guys. You can do this. Thank you so much again, Marissa. Hey guys, give Marissa some love on our Facebook page because she was awesome. And I'll talk to you guys not next week, but in 2 weeks.
Thank you for having me, Keyshawn. I appreciate it.
No problem. Bye.
Bye, guys.